Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and it's time for your weekly wrap-up, and I'm a little under the weather today, so I may sound a little congested. It is allergy season here in the northeast of the United States, and I am sneezing my head off today. You would think after 2 or 3 generations of my family being on this continent, I would be used to the conditions here, but nope, every year around this time it gets me, and today is the day it's really hitting me hard, but I'm going to soldier through this one, and hopefully we'll be better tomorrow. I do want to begin, though, by thanking our newest Patreon supporters, David Easter, Ian McDonald, Sam Ostroff, and Jason Hunt. All of them gave to the Patreon this week, so I want to thank all of you for doing that, everyone who's been contributing on an ongoing basis, as well as all of those of you who watch on an ongoing basis too, because we're going to hit that big milestone this week. We're very close to 100,000 subscribers, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later in the video. So let's take a look and see what we did this week. We took a look at the new ThinkPad 13 Chromebooks. This is a ThinkPad running Chrome OS. We looked at another business Chromebook as well, the HP Chromebook 13 G1, a really nice and somewhat expensive Chromebook depending on how you configure it. From HP, running with a Core M processor, really nice performance out of this. We'll talk a little bit more about Chrome OS and business a little bit later in the video here. We also looked at the Kensington USB Type-C dock with power, and this was really an interesting product actually, because it's kind of all over the place in its performance. Not so much Kensington's fault either. It's really how different manufacturers choose to implement USB Type-C technology in their own products, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into the Q&A. A lot of things to look forward to in this video here. And we took a look at the new Channels app that runs on iPhone and iPad. This allows you to tune live television from an HD Home Run tuner to your iOS device. An HD Home Run, and the makers of it, Silicon Dust, are an occasional sponsor here on the channel, but it's something I use all the time. Really cool stuff. You can, again, watch live TV on your iPhone or iPad and get a nice channel guide with it too. There is a competing app to this also that I think I'm going to take a look at a little bit later in the month, because they just pushed out a pretty big update to that. So there's a lot of competition in this HD Home Run viewing economy right now, so I want to cover all of it. So stay tuned. We'll have something more on that coming soon. And in the news this week, there was a very interesting story about No Man's Sky, which is a hotly anticipated space exploration game that's releasing on the PC and PS4 next week. And this game has been in development for quite a while. There's a lot of us very, very excited about it, which is maybe why it's showing up here on the wrap-up. And it involves getting in your little spaceship and navigating your way to the center of the universe. And within this universe they've created, there are 18 quadrillion planets. And these are not things that the developers made one by one. They developed a math algorithm that gets applied to the software that they wrote, and everything just comes to life. And what's really fascinating about this is that the developers themselves don't even know what's in the universe that they created. They certainly looked at as many planets as they could, but there's so many that even every player of this game, even if this is the top game ever sold, will likely never find everything there is to find in this software title. Pretty exciting stuff, at least for me as a space game nut. But what happened this week was that somebody managed to get their hands on a copy ahead of the release date. So it's coming out on PS4, which means that there are physical discs, and those discs are likely sitting in your favorite game or department store as we speak, but they just can't put them on the shelves until August 9th. Well, this guy found somebody who was willing to take one of those discs out of the store, either illegally or unscrupulously, and then paid a good hefty sum for it. And then, of course, that guy who got the game started streaming it on Twitch, and I think he's been banned since then. And it's a great way to bump the line if you're trying to get your name out there as a game streamer. But it got me thinking about the purpose of release dates anymore, especially when we're in this digital era. So this game was done maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. We could have had it a month ago if they just released it out on digital platforms, but of course there's still a need to have a retail presence for a lot of this stuff too. But it makes you wonder whether or not release dates are going to be slowly disappearing, or if we're just never going to know what the release dates are, because there's going to be a very strong desire for game streamers to grab these games early and get them up ahead of everyone else's plans. And it's only going to keep getting worse, because as long as there's a physical copy sitting in a department store somewhere, there is a way to get your hands on one and really jump these release dates. So a lot of players are kind of ticked off because they didn't want to be spoiled by it. I, of course, didn't watch the stream, but I've just been really thinking about this whole release date thing for a while now, and I just wonder if it's even worth doing anymore, given that it's so easy for these copies to leak out and such an incentive for people to get their hands on them early, even if they have to pay a lot of money for them. So now it's time for some Q&A, and we've got a bunch of stuff to talk about. And this first one came in from Shane Thomas, who found an article about the BBC and some wireless keyboards that apparently will give away every one of your key presses if somebody is listening. And they published a list of this on the BBC article that you can see linked there. Anchor and Eagletree, General Electric, HP, Insignia, Kensington, Radio Shack, and Toshiba all had keyboards that failed the test that Bastille Networks put to them, which was, can you intercept key presses when you're typing on these things? They're running unencrypted. Not many of these manufacturers have responded yet, but if you go to the Bastille Networks website, you can see what each one said. What was interesting was Anchor agreed to actually stop selling these keyboards that they were selling, so they are taking some steps to mitigate the situation a little bit. So this is definitely something to think about when you're looking at buying a wireless keyboard. Now, Bluetooth keyboards are generally okay, but you got to be careful because if your computer's running with an older version of Bluetooth, it may not be as secure as it might be on a more modern PC. I did look up the Logitech keyboards that I use here on the channel for a lot of different stuff here. I got one right here, as a matter of fact, for my TriCaster, and these do run with an encryption algorithm. So when you plug in the little dongle and have it paired with the keyboard initially, it does set up an AES 128 encrypted communication between the keyboard and the computer. So it is encrypted, but if you are doing some super secret stuff, either for a corporation or the government or just yourself, and you don't want somebody snooping on you, you might be better off just plugging a wire in, because nothing is foolproof these days. Even things that claim to be strongly encrypted, there are always ways to mitigate that encryption or get around it in some way. So definitely be careful about that. I thought it was definitely a great article and something you all should take a look at to make sure you're not using one of these keyboards. And definitely be careful, because I always look for these kind of products, and I'm really going to be very careful about the things that I look for moving forward to make sure that there is some encryption on them before I review them on the channel, because this is a big deal, especially for people's privacy. Second question comes in from Gold Solitude, and he was wondering, really doesn't know if business and Chromebooks go well together. And, I think we're going to be seeing more and more Chromebooks making their way to business. I was on a call related to that HP Chromebook we looked on earlier this week, and somebody from Google was on that call who said that about 25% of the Fortune 500 is, quote unquote, considering using Chromebooks in the workplace right now. And that doesn't mean that they're going to replace all the computers that they use with Chromebooks, but they're going to start introducing them in some way into their workflow. And the reason why I think this is going to happen, even though it doesn't seem like it's a work kind of computer, is that they're very easy for IT directors to manage, because you have full control of that Chromebook from a centralized location. You can decide what gets installed or not on them. Even when the Android stuff starts making its way out to more Chromebooks later this year, the IT managers can determine not only whether or not they can install Android apps, but which apps if they want. Very easy to wipe one out and make it inaccessible if the Chromebook gets lost or stolen, and very, of course, easy to make sure that data doesn't get lost either, because it's all up with Google. And I can tell you, working for a small company for many years, I've often gone to Google services. We use Google Apps at my company because I don't have to hire more staff to maintain all the security. Google does that for me. It's a very good investment for many businesses, especially small companies, to have a lot of that security taken out of their hands, because it's very hard to be secure these days and do it correctly, especially if you can't afford someone who's really skilled at that. So to have Google being able to do that for people, not only control the access to the accounts, but to the hardware too, I think is going to be very attractive to business moving forward, especially as more and more software becomes web-based. So I think you're going to see a lot more Chromebooks making their way out there. And I'm actually interested to see what other companies do to respond to this. Certainly Microsoft has ways of controlling hardware remotely, as does Apple, but really these Chromebooks can get locked down really heavily in such a way that I'm really quite interested to see what happens next with that. And these next two questions are kind of a representative sample of things I heard from my Kensington USB Type-C dock review. Export Seeker wrote a really nice long comment on that video. Definitely check out what he had to say there. And prolific YouTuber Epos Vox also chimed in as well. And both, and just about everybody actually that wrote in, expressed some disappointment that USB Type-C is not turning out the way we all hoped it would. And part of the problem is that Type-C really is just a standard for the connector. How these manufacturers choose to implement it is still kind of in their choice, and that's been the problem with it. As you saw in that video, we had a stack of laptops, all of them implementing USB Type-C differently, to the point that really only one worked the way I was hoping it would work with that dock, and that was the MacBook. Other devices, some of them had video over the port, some didn't. Some charged the device over that port, some didn't. So there's a lot of different things that people are choosing or not to connect to their USB Type-C connectors, and it's going to be a real mess for consumers who are looking for multi-purpose devices like that dock that we looked at. So in many ways, it's not Kensington's fault that they have some compatibility problems. It's really the fault of the manufacturers who have all implemented this standard in very different ways. And my bigger concern about USB Type-C is when Thunderbolt 3 devices start making their way onto the marketplace, because they use the same exact connector as USB Type-C. In fact, you can use both things on it, really. You can unplug a USB Type-C and plug in a Thunderbolt into the same port, and if your computer is Thunderbolt equipped, it will just come up and do Thunderbolt stuff, and then when that USB Type-C thing comes back in, it goes back to being a USB Type-C port. So a lot of consumers, I think, are going to buy some Thunderbolt stuff, not realizing it doesn't work with their computer. So we'll see where it goes, but I really hope that over the next year we'll start seeing some standardization around this port, and we'll get video, power, and data all through the same connector, because right now it is not that way at all. And it was crazy to have 4 laptops here on the desk and not one of them implement that standard the same way. So let's see what happens next with that, but I am a little nervous about it. So now it's time for some Q&A for you, and I'm going to put up this big number we're at right now. This is my subscriber count as of a few minutes ago, 99,726 subscribers. Based on the trends of growth here, we should hit the 100,000 mark by Wednesday or Thursday of this week, if not a little bit sooner. So what I'm hoping is going to happen is that this number is reached while I'm home after work. So we'll see what happens here. It may happen in the middle of the night at some point, but really exciting to be very close to 100,000 subscribers. It's been a milestone that I've been striving for the last couple of years, and I really owe a debt of gratitude to all of you who invest your time and your thoughts with me on this channel, because really this is a partnership. You don't get to this subscriber count if your audience isn't guiding you there, and I want to thank all of you for that. It really feels, I can't even come up with words to describe how I feel at the moment, but it's been really wonderful to begin a channel just doing some random products that showed up on people's search results, to actually building something that people want to come back and watch, which still surprises me every day. And to that end, because I want to get more people coming back to watch, I put together a survey at Lon.TV/survey about some of the content that I've been creating, some of the things I'm thinking about creating, and I wanted to get some feedback from you, because I've been looking at some other channels who are around my subscriber size, and they do tend to get more views per video uploaded than I do. Now, part of the problem is, maybe it's a good thing, is that I upload more content per week than a lot of these channels do. So some do maybe 2 or 3 videos a week, maybe 1 video a week. I do anywhere from 4 to 6 a week. So surely there's some saturation of the audience going on here. But I do want to get some ideas from all of you as to what would keep you watching more often, just so I can figure out where I want the direction of the channel to go. I still want to keep doing random reviews of stuff, but I also want to fill out some more subscriber content too. So fill out that survey and do let me know what you think, because we're going to be striving for 200,000 next, and I want to grow and get there faster than I did to 100,000, because that is always the goal, is to keep growing and grow faster. So let's see where we end up. What's been really interesting to me, though, is that the subscriber growth has been very, very steady. I mean, certainly there's peaks and valleys along the way, but it's been growing at just a very steady pace over the last 2.5 years or so. My big jump was around the holiday season of 2014. That's when I went from kind of getting about 300,000 views a month to getting 1 million views a month, and that's when the subscriber numbers really picked up. And the subscriber viewership has grown by about 10% of my overall views. So in the past, it was about 90% of just search results versus subscribers. Only about 10% of the viewers on the channel were subscribers. Now we're close to 20% of the overall monthly views being subscribers. So there's certainly things that people are coming back for, but I want to do more of that to serve what you are looking for. So do let me know down below, and that'll help plan out some stuff for the rest of the year here. And I bet you thought that I forgot to announce the winner of the Chuwi Tablet. I didn't. I'm just trying to get you to watch the whole video. So the winner of the Chuwi Tablet that runs both Android and Windows is Chris DeVries, and I'm going to be emailing you with information so that I can get all of your information to send this out to you. So I want to thank everyone who entered. We had over 550 entries, so thank you all. There will be more giveaways coming soon. I didn't have time to get one together this week. I got a bunch of stuff in the closet there that I will be rolling out on a regular basis. We'll probably be doing 2 or 3 giveaways a month for the foreseeable future until I start running out of stuff to give away. Then it'll be a little bit less frequent. So be on the lookout for more stuff coming soon. And speaking of upcoming plans, here's what's coming up this week on the channel. I've got my review of the Samsung 6300 4K television coming up. This is an entry-level set. It retails for about $880 or so on Amazon. I got mine at a $300 discount during the Amazon Prime Day sale. It's probably the best deal I've had in quite some time, and it was perfect because I needed a TV for my home theater nook over there that you'll be seeing more and more of on the channel. Works perfectly in that space. A really nice television for the money, but it isn't a perfect TV though, and that's what's interesting about it. So I'll talk about what an entry-level TV gets you and what to expect from it in that review. I was also reminded in the course of creating that review, I'm still editing it by the way, is how much more efficient I am when I use the TriCaster sitting here at the desk because I shoot everything live to disc. For this one, I had two different cameras shooting the review, plus a lot of B-roll footage that I have to work in as well. So it's actually taking me about 3 times as long to get that video ready as it would something I shoot here at the desk with the TriCaster. So it really gives you an idea as to the efficiency you gain by shooting everything live to disc like I do. I probably couldn't output the volume I do if I shot everything like I shot that video. I'm also going to take a look at Amazon Instant Video this week because Amazon's doing some really interesting stuff with Android apps, including their underground store where there's a lot of stuff that you would normally pay for on other platforms that you get for free through Amazon. And their Prime Video now allows you to download videos that you would normally stream from them onto an SD card on Android. So for parents that have kids and you're trying to load up a bunch of stuff for them to watch so they don't eat up your data while you're on the road, this might be a really good choice. And for whatever reason, Amazon makes it really hard to get the app on your device. We're going to talk about how to install Amazon Underground so that you can get Amazon Video installed and how to make it work. And I think I'm actually going to be switching my daughter off of the iPad that she's currently using over to an Android tablet, primarily because, for 2 reasons. One is that she destroyed the thing, it's smashed to bits, but the second reason is that I can use that SD card to augment the onboard storage, especially for video and whatnot, because right now she has a 16 gigabyte iPad mini that I got refurbished a while ago. I can't fit anything on that thing, and I really need more flexibility, and I think this is the way to go, combining some of the Amazon free apps along with their video store. So we'll be looking at that, showing how to install the app and then how to get the video stuff working. So that should be coming up later this week if I'm feeling better. And I'm looking forward to this one actually. This is a portable battery-powered printer from HP. It's probably going to be attractive to lawyers and other folks who need a way to print something on the road, and we'll be taking a look at this. It's not a new concept. These have been around for a while, but this is a new one that came in a little while ago, and they finally are lifting their embargo on it very shortly. So I'm looking forward to showing all of you what it is all about. So that is coming up this week. If you want to help the channel, you can. You can go to Lon.TV/Patreon and make a monthly contribution to the channel. We also have fan funding set up at Lon.TV to make a one-time contribution to the channel. We hope to get those funds put together soon for our new employee. I got to get all the business documents filed and everything else. It's been a crazy 2 months for me with a new baby and some big positive changes at my day job. So I'm trying to get caught up with all of that. So hopefully we'll get that person started pretty soon to help me become even more efficient, if that can be possible. I'm sure it is. We also have some ways to engage with the channel. Lon.TV/email to get on my email list. I do that once a week now. Facebook page is at Lon.TV/Facebook. I always post stuff on there. It's kind of like my blog now for things that I find interesting. So check out that and like it. We got the Reddit page at Lon.TV/Reddit and a bunch of stuff in the store. And my store is where I sell stuff that I bought to review, and then now I'm done with it because I reviewed it. So now I resell it for a lower price than you would normally pay, and most of it's in pretty new condition. So definitely check it out if you're looking for a deal on something. So that's going to do it for this week's weekly wrap-up, our last before we hit the big 100,000 subscriber mark. And I just want to again thank all of you for everything, because this channel would not exist without people like you watching it. And somehow you all found me, and somehow we've built this together. And I really greatly appreciate all of the positive and constructive things that you have provided to me that have helped guide the content here, which has led to attracting more viewers. And I just couldn't be more excited about this, and it just blows my mind every day that we live in a world where really anyone can start something like I did, and you do. Some of you have some pretty successful channels out there too, and you can build up something from nothing here, and it really is a testament to the power of this medium. And I hope all of you who are thinking about starting channels just start them already, because that's what I did. You start and you figure out where you go from there, because it is possible to build a pretty decent sized audience doing the things that you love. And that's one of the great things about living in the future, is that you can do the things that you love. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I hope you keep doing what you're doing. Let me know what you're up to down in the comments below, and we'll see you next week. This is Lon Seibin. Thanks for watching. This channel is brought to you by my Patreon supporters. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to Lon.TV/Patreon to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit Lon.TV/S.